Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Tapped In podcast. This is episode number 19. Why is shit so expensive? I bring this up because it's been a real genuine question that I've had for such a long time. Because it's like, why is it so expensive to live? We talk about the economy, we talk about how pricey eggs are. Like, what the fuck? I can't even make an omelet without fucking scraping off $8 or some shit for some eggs. It's fucking ridiculous, you know. But shout out Lil Tay, the youngest rich flexer or whatever the fuck she goes by or used to go by. That whole situation's fucked up. Lil Tay, when it was reported that she passed away, had me believing because a lot of people give her criticism and whatnot, but in the back it was always like her brother and her family. They were like, "Oh yeah, no, this brings a lot of attention and views. We should probably capitalize on this." So it wasn't really her fault, but that whole era with with Lil Tay, and then you got like your fucking Bad Baby and all these other internet personalities. Like, damn, what the fuck's going on here? Everybody getting money, and it was so weird. But shouts out to her. She's not dead for real, which is good because we don't want to know that she actually died. She was way too young, and that was fucked up too. Even if it was true, like people were going off on her. They were like, "Oh man, she was very spoiled. She was all of this, all of that." But like, bro, she a fucking teenager. What the fuck? I could never hold no animosity towards her. If you didn't know that it was your shtick, I don't know what to tell you. But don't get it fucked up. Some children out here are living that expensive lifestyle. I mean, how the fuck do some of these children have expensive ass phones? See, when I was a kid, and I bring this up because Apple has unveiled a price tag for the new iPhone 15 Pro Max, which is reportedly going to cost 60% more than an actual MacBook. The price tag is being listed at $2,000, like 99 cents, 2099 or something 2K. Expensive as fuck, more than what my parents pay for rent, you know. But going back to what I was saying, I used to grow up and I never got a phone until it was like what, sixth grade. You would think, sixth grade, I'm probably like what, 12. I would have like a decent phone, but it was none of that. Instead, I got a fucking little brick phone, like literal brick, not even one of those that fucking you can flip the cover shit and pull out the antenna. You had no battery percentage. It was pure bars. You had to fucking eye that shit. You had to weigh it out. I was like, oh man, is this about to die? So no emailing, no fucking Wi-Fi, just straight up talking, like straight up what a basic bareback features of a phone. None of these little motherfuckers are ever gonna know what the pain of that was. They got their fucking iPhones, their iPads, their all of this and that. It's like, damn. Like I got, I remember my sister, her first phone was a fucking iPhone. I was like, you gave me a brick. What the fuck? Like for real, I couldn't believe. I felt betrayed. I was like, damn, you never gave me none of that. Why the fuck did she get that? But it's just a different time period. Everybody at one point had their little Barack Obama phones, and their fucking Blackberries and whatever. And that shit was funny because the original Stimmy. Everybody talks about, oh man, this guy, I just re-upped on my fucking Joe Biden stimulus check or whatever. But it started off with Barack Obama giving the Barack phones and shit. Everybody was supposed to have them, from what I remember. I was a child back then. I don't know too much, but oh, you know what's crazy? Now that I think about it, Obama was going on some wild shit. I don't even know if it's true. I think it's a rumor. I don't even know if it's like actually a thing. But didn't fucking Tucker Carlson just come out with like a interview with like who was it? It was some guy, just some random guy. I don't think the guy holds merit or something. I think his name was, yeah. So Tucker Carlson came out with an interview with a guy named Larry Sinclair, and he states that he had sex and snorted cocaine with Barack Obama. in 1999. There's so many layers and little nuances to like break down, you know? Because from what I remember, a couple weeks ago, there was this report or like this article that broke, and it was like Obama used to fantasize kissing a guy or some shit like by Obama or some shit. And I was just so mesmerized. I was just so captivated by the headline that I'm like, this can't be true, right? Like, not Obama. I'm not saying that it's a bad thing if he was. I'm just saying like he's the last person I'd expect to, be into men. And in this fucking interview, I'm telling you, man, once Fox News let go of Tucker Carlson, he just fucking started going deep into some weird, obscure shit, man. But yeah, shout out, shout out Obama if that's true, I guess. You do you, baby. What can I say? But yeah, now go back to the phone thing. I think it's hilarious that I'm bitching about the brick little phone. At least we could communicate. Can you imagine being a fucking caveman back in that era? I'd imagine that even back then there was still like caveman beef. Like maybe we have tribes set up. You got your little fucking caveman tribe here, and another caveman walks by and he's on the wrong turf, but he can't call his homies for backup because no phones. So he got to use like fucking smoke signals and shit. He got to hit his own version of the whoop de whoop or some shit. Whistle far back. It's gotta suck, man. But yeah, stop giving these children hella expensive phones, man. Cause I never got them, and I'm projecting. Yep. Anyways, we gotta move on to this next story. Apparently, Chinese authorities are sending messages to their residents encouraging, quote, sweet love and good fertility. I wish it was February to bring you this news story, but nonetheless, I think it's hilarious. When I was younger, I didn't understand that. When a woman would walk in and hold hands with her husband, and they would look everybody in the eyes, trying to be all cute and shit, and be like, "Oh, we're trying so hard for a baby. We're really trying." Now that I'm older, I realize how fucked up that is. Like when you really think about it. Because if you decode all that sugary talk, it's like, oh yeah, no, he's been ramming my shit for weeks, creaming my shit non-stop to this day, you know, like like that fucking meme. But yeah, it's fucked up now because I remember my aunt was just fucking sitting as we were watching like what were we, I think we were watching fucking Frozen. I back then I was a little child, so I was a big Disney fan. I was like, "Yeah, Frozen! I can't wait to watch this. I've been waiting. I've been waiting all week to watch this." And my aunt was just in the corner talking hella loud to my mom. She was like, "Oh yeah, no, we've been trying so hard for a baby, so hard. You have no idea." And I'm like, "Yeah, that's cool, aunt, but like, look, Olaf and shit. And it's like so hard for a baby." Now that I'm older, it's like it's fucked up because I can't look my my uncle in the eyes out because I just think about the time that she just kept going on about how much she was getting fucked, which is not a pretty visual that I want inside of my head. But yeah, why rub the woman's stomach? Pat my balls. I did that shit, but I don't know, man. I feel like the Chinese authorities are acting like one of those sleazy guys you meet, at the bar, and then they ended up texting you at like 1 in the morning. They hit you with the "what you doing" devil horns emoji. It's like, what you doing? You being a good citizen, populating the earth and shit. I can't imagine that. Why the fuck is this encouraged? Like, is there a deficit? And is there a decline in the population going on? If you're Chinese, let me know. What's going on? That's gotta be fucked up. Like, what if you're like in the middle of coitus and you just get a fucking Bing notification on your phone and it's like the Chinese fucking president just like, oh yeah, get in there. Like let me see. There's like some live camera shit. It's like They just show up, give you a fucking medal if you're like the one to repopulate the most. It's like, good job, citizen. Work's not finished. Kobe mentality, bitch. But yeah. Now, speaking of jobs not being finished, we got to talk about this new single from Cardi B and Megan Thee Stallion. It's called Bongos. Uh, I'm gonna be honest with you. I have not heard it. I don't really care for neither of these women. Uh, you know, Cardi B, uh, her history with drugging men that I think a lot of people brush off or choose to neglect or ignore or I don't know, all of the above. It just rubs me the wrong way. I think she's a bit obnoxious. Her music is not my taste. Same as Megan Thee Stallion. Her music is just not my taste. So I will never listen to these artists. But what did catch my attention, the catch and sniff copies of her new single Bongos are a thing. And when I was scrolling through Instagram, I just happened to see the video. And she's literally got her fucking CDs, which by the way is hilarious because nobody buys CDs anymore. It's all digital. And she's rubbing that shit on her breast, and then she's putting that shit underneath her dress. That's gotta be the stankiest shit, dude. You know what? I was gonna say who's gonna buy this, but I know there's some freaks out there. I just know somebody's willing to drop 1K, 2K stacks for that shit. And I swear to God, I open the comments, and the first guy's like, "That's nasty. Give me six of them." Like what the fuck? Oh my God, why? Why? Just why? Is fucking Megan Thee Stallion doing it too? I just saw Cardi B doing it, and because the idea, right, is like it reminds me of that bit from Family Guy where he's like, was it Stewie talking about Lindsay Lohan? I don't remember, but it was when he opened that scratch and sniff book, and he's like, "Oh, Lindsay Lohan goes jogging or some shit," and he's like, "Oh, I imagine this is the same effect where you get the CD and oh, and that's the thing, right? Motherfuckers don't got CD players, so this is really to call out anybody who's just a freak, who's willing to drop that much money. And props her because she knows she's gonna profit so much from this. Guys are just willing to drop so much money just to be able to say that they sniffed or got a whiff of that toxic female. I don't know where I'm going with this, guys. I'm just clearly dumbfounded by the idea that somebody's gonna pay. So, yeah, that reminds me of that fucking thing that what is the name of that website? WikiFeed or whatever the fuck. I don't know. I'm not a foot guy. I'm not Quentin Tarantino and shit. But didn't they offer Margot Robbie like a large sum of cash to post her feet on some shit? All right, you know what? Let's have a conversation. Let's have a real conversation. Who are you guys buying a scratch and sniff book from, huh? Let me know in the comments. Let me know who you're dying to get a whiff of. I just this has nothing to do with like, oh man, I bet they smell nice, but I genuinely wonder what Post Malone smells like because the man is covered in tattoos. The man is a nicotine addict. He's on them cigs, or he used to be. I'm not sure. I saw that he transformed again, and he had a little bit of a transformation. So props to him. He looks slim. He looks leaner. He looks healthier. So congratulations to him for his recent success. But I want to know what that pre Post Malone smell like. I was gonna say something else, but that was been so nasty. But yeah, I'm trying to see what Post Malone smelled like before he transformed and changed his life for the better. Um, but if you are going to get that Cardi B Scratch and Sniff CD, it's just out to you. That shit is nasty. That shit is gross. But you know, my email's always open. I was just saying. I'm just. Something else that happened this week was Kanye West getting caught in an NSFW moment. My man's was in a boat riding in Italy, enjoying, a beautiful croissant or whatever the fuck. Oh wait, no, that's France. I'm sorry. Fuck, fuck. I'm not good with geography, guys. Enjoying a baguette, and his woman was also enjoying his baguette. My man's was getting topped off on a boat. Uh, shouts out to Kanye. Congratulations, man. That's a really big achievement. But apparently now they're banned, or at least their footage got leaked. Which that's a little weird, man. I know TMZ is always like the first to get the scoop, but like hiding out like snipers, watching this man get topped off is well, that's glazing, like for real. Like that's for real glazing. Uh, I can't get mad at Kanye for that clip where he wakes up at like what 5 in the morning and he's fucking walking to his car. He's like, "Good morning, Kanye." He's like, "Shut the fuck up, man. Leave me alone." Like, damn, TMZ got to be investigated, man. That shit is crazy. I know it's legal, but like, where do we draw the line with I don't know paparazzi and fucking stalking? Sometimes it does just feel like stalking. And I know we were being funny about the whole Kanye getting sloppy shit, but no, for real. Like, what the fuck, TMZ? Like the worst part is he probably stayed there. He's like, oh man, could you imagine Kanye West in that situation? Like he's not thinking about anything else besides what's happening. He's got his ass out and shit, and he just hear he just hear the fucking camera flick. Just I'm a big fan, Mr. Kanye. I'm a big fan. Oh, what the fuck, man? Leave me alone. Like trying to have a fucking conversation while getting topped off is crazy. But hopefully they get unbanned. I don't fucking know. Kanye West has gone off the rails. Uh, I think he's working on a new album. It's rumored that he will drop something. Maybe not this year, but in the following year. Let's see if he incorporates whatever the fuck's happening in this crazy life into whatever he puts out, because it's always entertaining at least. And speaking of entertaining, you got to talk about the Pentagon. Ooh, real spicy shit right here. The Pentagon has released declassified UFO photos and videos on their new website, which I find is very neat that they have a whole website dedicated to UFOs after such a long time they denied it, or at least they didn't want to confirm or not confirm the existence of aliens. But come on, guys. I mean, we live in such a grand galaxy, and we're not the only planet that exists. Eventually, there's got to be some otherworldly life outside of our own realm. But, that's a whole nother subject. That's a whole nother conversation to be had. But my question is, why the fuck is video footage in 2023, especially from a high fucking military grade powered vicinity such as the Pentagon, so fucking grainy? Like you have the fucking objects, you have the specs, you have all these equipment that you would think you would get like 4K videos. Like that's the whole thing with like CCTV. Why is it so fucking grainy? You can barely make shit out. And to be honest, man, I'm starting to think that it wouldn't even matter. I just think that aliens don't really want to fuck with us like that. I believe in the zoo theory, the zoo theory being more like what we see is our life, right? We see the perception that we make, but outside is a whole different thing. We're like trapped in our own little bubble. These aliens are looking, you know, every now and then like, okay, should we reveal ourselves? Honest to God, if an alien for real came down here, nobody would give a fuck. Just like if Jesus came down here, I don't think people would actually care. And that's really sad when you really think about it, because people are so obsessed with their phones. People are so in their fucking little worlds that I don't think it would have an impact. I think it would be like a trend. They would be like, "Oh shit, is that my boy Jesus? Is that God himself?" and then go back to eating a salad or some shit. Like that's for real how it would go. But the conversation about aliens is always fascinating because it's the same kind of conversation that we have about robots. Which civilization is gonna become slaves first? I mean, obviously humans, because we don't have the fucking capability to withstand a fucking merciless attack if they decided to turn on us. But I think it's a worthwhile conversation to have about aliens. If aliens came down, like I said, and they looked at us like, "Are you not intrigued? Are you not like in awe of our existence?" We'd be like, "No, bruh, I got fucking debt and depression. Like I got bigger fucking fish to fry, my man. Like I don't have time for this." And I don't think we'd get much of an interaction besides that. But I'm a very open person. I'm waiting for the day that we get to see aliens. I'm honestly waiting for the day that we get to see aliens only because I know that the crossover would be fucking amazing. We'd get to, will we be able to learn about different societies and different planets? Probably so. I would imagine. I don't think we'd be able to communicate very well. I don't think a fucking alien's default language is English, but it'd be fun. We just know that we'd fuck shit up, or at least we would definitely just fuck up alien communication and start some civil war. Uh, so yeah, and obviously we would lose because again, we don't have the capabilities to withstand an attack. And speaking about attacks, we got to shift to this story. It's a fucked up story when we really think about it. So it appears that a woman, who worked as a waitress, she was tipped a lottery ticket, and she actually was able to win. Now she won $10 million. Now, what happened next was fucking crazy. She was sued by her colleagues because they wanted a slice of that fucking pie. They wanted a little bit of that provolone. And then she was sued by the man who tipped her the ticket, which is fucked up. Don't give me shit that you want back. That's mine. I earned it. But not only that, she was then kidnapped by her ex husband and she had to fend for herself. So, what does she do? She shoots him right in the chest. And you would think, I just dealt with like a lawsuit. I just dealt with another lawsuit. I had to go to court because I killed my husband and shit. But it didn't end there because she would then have to go to court with the IRS because, taxes and shit. The biggest takeaway that I can get from this is, you know, don't tell people you won the lottery. That's for sure what I would do, man. There's been so many costumes. I've given it a lot of thought. What are the chances that you actually win the lottery? I'm pretty sure that it's like slim to none. But in the event that I do win it, I do have a plan in case of an emergency, and it starts off with a Peppa Pig costume because that's the way that I'm going to collect mine. I've seen a lot of costumes. I think there was one guy who went as like a Pikachu, or he was wearing a scream mask. Like there's a whole lot of things. Now let's be honest. Are you telling your family that you won the lottery? Like, are you for real going up to your whole familia and shit, and telling them that life's about to change, or do you play dummy, and do you play broke, and you're like, nah, man, not me, and slowly just start fading away from the family interaction until you're fucking landing in Cuba or some shit. I don't know. Where do you guys go on vacations? I think that I genuinely just would not tell people that I won the money. I remember too. My friend told me this. My friend would even agree. Shout out to him. He just went off to serve as part of the National Guard, but he told me that he would get money or at least a check, and now people are like, oh, what's good, man? It's been months. We haven't reconnected. We haven't talked. Same with me. I'm getting a little check here, or I'm getting some money, and now all of a sudden, it's like, oh man, remember when I let you borrow that crayon in fucking kindergarten or whatever? It's always those people. But for real, I don't think that sharing your winnings. Well, I shouldn't say sharing your winnings, but sharing the announcement that you actually won is something that we need to do. Because hey, you never know people's true intentions. You know, families get fucked up over money. I had a teacher who told me that her family, they pretty much just stopped talking, or they don't have a stable relationship anymore because apparently when her mother died, she left the estate up for grabs, and she was like, oh, just let my kids deal with this on their own. They're gonna divide it properly. I'm very sure of that. And it turned out that, hey, maybe that wasn't such a good idea because they ended up not only falling apart in terms of a sibling relationship, but now nobody has the deed to the house. And that's fucked up, man. Don't lose your family and your friends over. I'm not gonna say something minute, but something that definitely should be talked about in advance, I guess, or something that should be brought up and treated with more respect. Because I think that happens in a lot more families than we think. You lose your property, you lose your belongings, you lose everything, and you can't share it equally. So now it just looks like one is trying to get one up on the other, which is, again, a fucked up way to lose family members and a very fucked up way to lose your friends. So, let's not do that. But yeah, making the rounds as well. I find this to be hilarious, and I got a little conspiracy about this. There is apparently a tick that is going around that makes you allergic to meat, and it's gaining a little bit of traction. It's getting a little bit of a spread, if you will. And my conspiracy is that the fucking vegan teacher got something to do with this, because there's no way that this isn't a fucking first strike for vegetarians. They're tired of you consuming the fucking meat. They're tired of you killing their fucking cow friends and shit. You're eating all the chickens. They want you to stay green, man. You gotta be like Hulk. Pure fucking lean and shit. But no, of course I'm just kidding. But I think it's kind of a weird allergy. Uh, just like a nut allergy. I know that's a very popular allergy. I always found it kind of, well, not, this is fucking ironic, but I found it to be nutty because I had a friend who had an allergy. He had a peanut allergy. And I remember we were all in this cafeteria in high school, and we're all just sitting around. We're having a good time, and we see our boy. For this instance, we're gonna call him Greg. Now, Greg, he's a little bit of a daredevil, but he knows his limits. And we were all like, "Oh, Greg, what's wrong with you, man? You look a little down." And he says, "Guys, I don't want to live my whole life without knowing." And we're all confused, like, what are you talking about? And he pulls out, a fucking Reese's Pieces, and he slams that shit down on the table like he just served us divorce papers. It's one of those. And we're like, oh my God, my boy Greg is about to do it. We're like, no, Greg, you're gonna die. But like, let's be honest, a really big part of us wanted to see what would happen. Like, we know how fucked up that sounds, but we really wanted to know how this man would react if he ate a fucking if he ate a fucking slice of Reese's peanut butter cups. And so he slams it and he opens it and he takes the deepest fucking sigh that you can fucking muster. And he just exhales that shit. He looks us in the eyes and he slams that fucking EpiPen on the fucking table. He's like, guys, I'm gonna go in. This is like fucking D-Day. Like, this is for real an event. Now the whole school, not the whole school, but like the whole fucking lunch room is kind of just steering its eyes slowly as this kid with a fucking peanut allergy is fucking going to do this amazing trick. Like, this is some David Blaine shit, pure magic. Anyway, he slams the EpiPen and he's like, boys, you know what to do. And he like, this is fucking Mission Impossible type shit. And he takes his first bite, and my man's just knocked out. Like, he just fucking the fucking look on his face. He was so like ready. He was so nonchalant about it. He's like, yeah, I just been wanting to try this. I didn't want to have no regrets. I didn't want to leave anything on the table. What's a little bite? It's not gonna do anything, you know. He was giving himself that little fucking prep talk, and he takes a bite, and when I tell you, he swole up like a fucking strawberry. Like that man was fucking tomato red in the cheeks. Fucking eyes were slowly closing, and he was nearly breathless, man. We were like, oh fuck, no, Greg. And we had to shoot him in the arm with his little EpiPen or whatever. I don't remember where we shot him. Somebody else did it because we were all like, oh fuck. That's how fucked up of a friend we are, man. That's how fucked up of friends we are. We literally saw our boy start fucking dying because we didn't know what to do. We've never used an EpiPen and he didn't tell us how to use it beforehand. We all just kind of ran. We were trying to find out until like one of the guys apparently he knew how to use it, so he gave him a shot or whatever. He was all right. But props to him for trying, I guess. I don't know. He didn't die, so that's good. Uh, but oh, you know what that reminds me of? Almost dying. This is one of the stories that I love. I was in my last year of middle school, right? So this is eighth grade, and we were in this after school program, and our teacher that day was absent, so we had a substitute. And this substitute, she's gotta be early 70s, mid 70s, maybe early 80s. I'm not too sure. She's very old, as she's noticeably old. She walks with a little limp. She has a Boston accent and she has red hair. Shouts out to those who know who I'm talking about. But she's substituting for us. We're in the fucking class and we're just goofing around. We're just talking nonsense and, because we don't know a lot about her, we just decide to ask her, so, Miss, insert name here, what happens when you get old? Like, it's a genuine question. And this woman walks up, she's like, guys, you don't have to worry about getting old, but I will tell you, when you get old, and then just fucking bam, she just falls over. She trips on nothing. Like, this woman was just so fucking old and raggedy that she just falls over and she just lays there motionless. She's just laying there. And we're like, oh fuck, what happened? And this is how fucked up we are, because we just saw this woman trip and fall, and she's just like, she's on her stomach, right? None of us had the idea or the fucking audacity to help this poor woman up. And as we're shell shocked, there's another girl in this class, and she's like, oh my God. And then she bolts out the door, and we're like, oh, great, she's gonna go get help because, obviously we don't know what to do. When I tell you, this bitch, she she fucking got out of the building and she started running down the street with her backpack on. We knew she wasn't coming back. This fucking girl just left and fucking bitch. And like, I'm not gonna lie, we were fucked up for thinking this, but we're like, damn, we should do the exact same thing. Oh shit. Oh, poor woman, man. Cause listen, she was a little cranky, but like, she didn't deserve that. She's old. We don't want to see her go out that way. But oh my god, she eventually just got up and just sat down and just didn't say a word for the rest of the fucking time that we were in there. And none of us said anything either. We just fucking left. And she didn't come back for a few days. We thought something wrong was going on or something bad. We were all concerned, but we didn't say anything. And the teachers didn't say anything. But every time every time that we sat down the next day, like our actual teacher would just give us like this side eye, like you fucking bastards, why didn't you help this poor woman? You know? The other worst part too is the fact that, I guess she heals up or I don't know why she took that sabbatical. I'm assuming it really has to do with the fact that she fell. And maybe she got hurt. I wouldn't be surprised. But we didn't see her for a while, right? And then she comes back and everything's normal. She's still like not looking us in the eye either because A, she's like, fuck you, or like she feels embarrassed, and we're not egging her on. We kind of forget about it, honestly. But it isn't until like I want to say either 2 or 3 weeks after she returned. She's like doing this monitor thing on the playground, and we're all like hanging outside. And she again just falls over. I think this woman is battling fucking gravity, bro. Like, there's just some people in life that you just can't help. Like, just some people are just born with like the gravitational pull of a fucking toddler. Like, they could not stand up to save their life. And this poor woman again fell over. And the worst part about it is that there was actual teachers outside. So, they all, of course, they come and rush to help this poor woman to her feet. And one of these guys, I don't know why the fuck he couldn't do it. Like, have you guys ever seen that fucking clip of the soccer match where it's these two guys bringing in like this little stretcher, and they put the guy on the stretcher and they hold it up, and the guy just falls and rolls over from the stretcher. It's like, man, why do you suck so much at your job? It was exactly like this, and the guy, he's trying his best to lift this woman up. This man goes up to lift her and just hurts his back. You can hear he's like, look, when you step on the Lego and shit. That's exactly how he sounded. He lifted this woman up and broke his back. So now there's two people on the ground. We gotta wait a fucking while. They canceled recess, and they're like, everybody get the fuck inside. Everybody get inside. And we just hear the fucking ambulance come for these two people. One got a broken back, and the other is just laid out. this this poor woman had the situation with the gravity. I shouldn't be laughing because, God, if I get older and I just start frolicking and falling around, I'm gonna feel bad. Uh, she got on everybody's nerves, like I said, but she's like your local elderly Karen, like, but she's like a sweet Karen. She's a nice Karen. So when she wants to be, we didn't wish any harm on her, of course. But by God, that shit was really really funny. Um, Speaking of something else that I at least found funny, I gotta talk about the TV news crew who was robbed in Chicago. Fucking Univision, man. They got held up at gunpoint by three men in ski masks, and they kind of just took them hostage, I guess. They held them at gunpoint, and they really said running. So they gave them their cameras or whatever equipment they had. And I honestly can say that I'm not surprised. Like, you can't just be walking around with all this expensive shit, especially in Chicago, especially the South Side. And what's funnier is the fact that this news crew was actually reporting on the recent robberies. Like, how the fuck does that work? I mean, there's some police who don't even come around some areas. What the fuck did Univision think was gonna happen? Like, imagine you're like, oh, Ricky, we got a live news update. It's like, what's up, man? And it's it just cuts back to him getting robbed. It's like, get on your fucking knees, give me all that shit, give me whatever you got. Chicago is for real Gotham City. Sometimes it's not even funny. Like, I know it's like a trend, for not even a trend, but it's like a real thing when suburban white kids are fucking, 4th of July. They're like, oh, I don't know if it's the fireworks or if it's gunshots, which, we know somebody who's never been in that type of environment who says stuff like that. But no, for real, in Chicago, you don't know if that shit is actually fireworks or a fucking pistol going off. I remember, I used to hang out with a couple of guys. And I say used to because I stopped going. But we were, celebrating 4th of July, and I got to spend the time over at their house. But their house is all the way at the south. Now, of course, if you live in Chicago, the south can get a little fucked up, especially, if you live around 63rd and all those places. We were in the back, and we were just shooting off fireworks, and we were having a grand old time. Like, we purchased so much, guys. Like, it's not even funny. And, eventually we fall asleep, and in the morning we just hear the fucking sounds of boom, boom, boom. We just start hearing that shit over and over. And I roll over on my side. I'm like, oh man, they're still shooting fireworks. I thought we were rid of all those fireworks, at night. And he starts like, yeah, man, they're still going at it. And we're like half asleep still, but we're talking and shit. And the sounds just keep getting closer. Like you can hear it outside the window type shit. And then we just figured, oh shit, no, that's bullets. Like that's fucking bullets. Cause outside we heard run, run. And it was like, oh shit. And my boy like wakes up, he finally wakes up. He's like, oh, no, 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 those aren't fireworks. And he's so calm and nonchalant. I've never been to the South Side. This is my first time being out there. So I prop up. And I'm like, oh fuck, what's going on? What's going on? He's like, no, 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 chill, 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 chill. I'm like, what the fuck you mean chill? They're shooting outside. It's like, nah, man, that's just my boy E. That's his wake up. Like, what the fuck? Like, they got a whole fucking system. You know how people like fucking farmers, right? They got like chickens to wake them up. They get woken up by the sound of a rooster doing the rooster shit off the top of their lungs and whatever. These motherfuckers in the South Side are woken up by like fucking rounds of ammunition. It's like, ah, no, that's just my boy E. He does that from time to time. Like it's fucking normal. Like god damn. It's not an environment to be, bro. I'm gonna just say that. I'm gonna put it there. I don't think you wanna, unless you want your life to get canceled type shit. But shout out to Univision. You know, hopefully they learn their lesson. There's a reason why we stay clear of certain areas, guys. Come on now. But speaking of cancellation, we have to talk about The Idol, the TV show that was on HBO. And apparently, after just one season, now I'm not gonna lie, I am a big fan of The Weeknd. I love his music. I've loved his music ever since I heard him, 4 or 5 years ago. It's awesome. I think he's very talented. But just because somebody is talented in one field, I don't think that means that they're amazing in everything that they do. This is going with The Weeknd's acting. Hopefully it was purposeful. I know a lot of people do spin it that way, and they're like, "Oh no, he's just being like this or acting like this on purpose." No, I don't think so because it was fucking awful, and you just couldn't take him seriously. He was supposed to be like this. I don't know, like sensualist, and like he was supposed to play off this dominant boss type ish role. I don't know what the fuck the vibe was supposed to be, but every time he tried to be serious, it made me cringe a little. And this is coming from somebody who loves The Weeknd. Like, what was that line he said? I'm gonna stretch that tiny little bruh. What the fuck? I remember because my sister is a big Weeknd fan, but she's little, so I'm not like overprotective of what she sees, but it's like I'm not gonna make her watch some obscene shit. And when they said that, I was like, bro, what the fuck? But a lot of people hype up a lot of shit the big artists do, and just because they like them. But the Idol was controversial to say the least, or at least in terms of the acting. I do believe that I guess the concept was kind of cool. It was just the execution. I could not take The Weeknd seriously in that role. Uh, Some of the scenes felt a little cringe, and it was just bad. I'm not gonna lie to you. But shouts out to him and his endeavors, man. Whatever he's gonna do. I believe his last feature as The Weeknd before he transitions and just starts using his real name is gonna be on the Puff Daddy album. So, let's see how that sounds. But sticking to musicians here, we gotta talk about the GOAT, Nick Cannon, of course. I could not name you five Nick Cannon songs if there was a fucking gun to my head. And I think that if you're watching this, you probably couldn't either. So, I think we, I don't know why I brought that up, but Nick Cannon. His brother stated that he actually has been needing Google to keep track of Nick's 12 kids, which I didn't know my man's had a whole basketball lineup. To be honest, I thought he only had like six. I have no clue where the Baker's dozen came from, but it doesn't surprise me. This is a real debate, man. Who's gonna at the end of the day, who's gonna have more kids, man? Who's gonna carry on that legacy? Is it gonna be Nick Cannon or fucking Genghis Khan? Because at this point, it's getting fucking ridiculous. Do y'all remember when he just straight up called out Taylor Swift? Not called out, but like he pretty much just said, "Hey man, Taylor, I'm trying to have more kids. You looking fine. Let's link, let's collab, if you will." That shit was awful. That shit was disgusting, and I cannot believe that he actually said that. Nick Cannon at this point gotta control half the world population. There's no way he doesn't. By the time that this video is fucking published, he probably will already have another set of 12 kids. Who the fuck knows? I wonder, like, does Nick Cannon even remember his own kids? Like, does he? Like, it's gotta be funny. Like, he gotta write that shit down, like, on a notepad or somewhere. Because there's no way I can barely even keep track of my fucking passwords. I don't even know what half of my emails are. Do you think I keep up with like 12 kids? Nah, man, that's crazy. Imagine if he got divorced. That's like fucking 12 checks you gotta write every single time, man. He has a kid for every month of the year. That is insane. I'm just now realizing how fucking insane 12 kids is. And I don't think he plans on stopping. Yo, somebody take his turban away, bro, because that shit must be giving him magical powers or whatever. How the fuck is this man's meat not depleted? Whoa, what the fuck? I don't know why I started to talk about Nick Cannon's meat. I don't know, man. I can't tell nobody what to do in their life, but I'm just saying. Some parents need kids, you know. I don't know where I'm going with it. Nick Cannon, please, you know, stop or don't. I don't know. How the fuck does he have that? America's Got Talent check must be covering a whole lot of shit. This man is the worst pullout fucking person ever. This man does not understand. He is illiterate when it comes to the word pullout. Just fucking oblivious. But shouts out to him and his lifestyle. That's for him. At least well, from what I know, he doesn't have a toxic relationship like Blueface and Sean Rock. Who, by the way, I think it was Blueface's mother who came out and said that they're actually cousins or they're related or some shit. I don't fucking know. Poor fucking kid is all I'm saying. Like the kid was just minding his own business, and then fucking Blueface comes on, and he got like half naked bitches all over the fucking crib and whatnot, and the kid's like trying to get some snacks or whatever. He's like, "Are you gay? Why are you gay?" Like, why are you pressing this little kid, man? He just wants fucking Twizzlers or whatever the fuck he was trying to get. Leave mans alone. What the fuck? And speaking of leaving people alone, we got to talk about this weird story that comes from. Well, actually, I don't even know where it comes from, but it does deal with a professor. So apparently, the story goes that this professor was harassing students at three universities. And the reason why he did that, you may ask? Well, apparently it was to satisfy his quote unquote clown fetish. What the fuck does that mean? And what the hell did he do? Like my man's was like out here posted up teaching, I don't know what the fuck, quantum mechanics or some shit, while dressed up like a rejected juggalo, you know? Uh that shit gotta be funny though, cause I don't know, I've never seen a clown like in real life. Besides every day that I wake up in the mirror, drum roll. But uh, do they talk when they perform? I'm not sure. I only know that they do the weird thing with the balloon and they make it into a little wiener dog or whatever. I don't know. But it'd be hilarious if you're taking a shit, then like on the other side, you just know that that man's watching you. Uh, I don't know the rest of this story. They didn't really give a follow up, but did he just like fucking walk out of his home at like I don't know, like 5 in the morning, get there at 7, and he's just waiting patiently with like a pie in hand. He's like, oh man, it's gonna be great. What is a clown fetish? It's gotta be like those it's gotta be like that short from Cyanide and Happiness where fucked up video where the guy is like a fucking clown or whatever. He's a quote unquote prostitute. And he's going back to this guy. And the guy's basically like having his time with him. But he's doing clown shit, he's getting pie to the face. He's got his hand on the fucking little electrical buzzard and whatever. It's a weird one, man. I don't know what a clown fetish entails, and honestly, maybe it's for the better that I don't know. Maybe I'm not meant to find out. But speaking about finding out, this is a real fuck around and find out moment. Apparently, Alabama, they're planning on becoming the first state to execute a prisoner by making him breathe only nitrogen. Oh boy, man, the sister fuckers ain't messing around. The sibling situationships. I don't know. I'm trying to come up with Alabama jokes, but they're really hammering down this idea, which honestly, coming from a different perspective, there's been plenty of worse ways to die. I gotta imagine that the guillotine wasn't just as pretty and efficient as people probably think it was, because you gotta think somebody's gotta be in charge of wiping off the blood, somebody's gotta prepare the thing. What happens if you're not strong enough, huh? You can't fucking just slice the shit to say in a fucking Dyson blender or whatever the fuck those shits are called. But it does, bring up a question again of should we be able to take another person's life? Of course, that's up to the states and whatever. But it is the noteworthy thing to think about. Not only because it is just a really big step from condemning somebody for life, but a lot of certain crimes don't really deserve it. It comes out that later in life new evidence props up or new techniques to unveil evidence and data prop up. And then you figure that the guy was innocent all this time. Not only did you take his time away, but you took his life. And that honestly is a really big reason why we see people who are on death row. Usually, it takes many, many years for them to finally get killed. You know, some people they do commit horrific crimes and they do deserve to be punished. What do you guys think about that? What do you guys think about death by nitrogen? Do you think that's too fucked up? You know, what is the what is your guys' favorite way of execution? Let me know in the comments down below. I'm more of a firing squad myself type of guy. Bring it back. But speaking of bringing it back, oh my god, SZA and Summer Walker had a twerk battle on vacation. Where the fuck is the video evidence? We need video evidence. If you got some, send it through. My email's always open. But no, seriously. SZA released the video for Snooze, and I believe she dropped like a lot of versions. This is a thing that I'm noticing more and more, and I blame TikTok because they made it so that musicians now they gotta please the algorithm, and by what I mean by that is they're releasing songs chopped and screwed. They're doing fast. They're doing slowed versions of their songs. They're doing like visualizations. They're doing lyric videos. And it's like the same 5 songs being repeatedly uploaded. And it's like, damn, I love you, but I ain't gonna listen to this fucking 5 times. Just because you did a fucking remix or you slowed it down and added reverb. And it's becoming more of a more of a trend uh, that I've noticed recently, and I saw it more because I'm subscribed to the Scissor channel, because I just fucking love her and I love her music. I was like, damn, why the fuck did I just get three, four notifications for the same fucking thing? Essentially, you know. But that's just my side of that whole conversation. But what we're here to really talk about is the snooze video where my man's Benny Blanco was living every man's dreams. I really had that it should have been me moment. This man was dragging some fucking fries off her ass and dipping that shit in ketchup. Who the fuck came up with who the fuck came up with that, bro? Like that. Uh, what'd be funny if Benny Blanco just said, "Nah, I just did that in the moment," and just said, "Fuck it." He's like, "I'm already here." But I don't know, man. This is gonna be a gross conversation to have, but that's a real thing. Some people are into that food and coitus thing where they'll eat like they'll try to be experimental, and I guess I don't know. I hear people use like whipped cream or chocolate or syrup. How the fuck do y'all do that? No, no, I don't want examples. I'm just like dumbfounded by it because I don't know. I just feel like you're already doing some that's gonna leave y'all feeling nasty and fucking sticky as it is. But why the fuck, you're cooking up a Denny's meal at the same time? That shit sounds fucked up. That shit sounds gross. But yeah, no, shout out Benny Blanco, for living every man's dream. I don't know shit about BBLs, but I hear that women have to see it weirdly on airplanes. I know I brought the BBL topic like out of nowhere, but I believe SZA has one. I'm not too in tune with people's lives, but I do believe that she has one. And one of my favorite like photos that I saw was this man who felt uncomfortable on the airplane, and he just took this picture of this woman who was like half asleep, but of course it was Miami, and Miami's like where they were coming from, and she apparently was like sleeping, but because she had gotten like the BBL thing, I guess she had to turn around. Like you can't properly sit, or else like it'll get fucked up. I don't know shit about how that surgery. Do you die? Like, can you die from a fucking BBL? Like that'd be a fucked up way. That'd be a fucked up rating, like on your obituary. Like what happened? My ass cheek popped out. Like I gotta read that shit. Like I'd be man, if I had to read that about like a friend of mine, I don't know. Would it be disrespectful to laugh? Of course, but going up to the fucking casket and be like, damn, he was really out here just getting popped out. Some things are just not worth it, man. If it makes you feel secure, go for it. If that's what you need in your life to feel better about yourself, to feel confident and strong, and all these amazing adjectives, and more power to you. But definitely try your best to not die, because when you die, you can't come back. These are my wise words. But moving away from BBLs, I got to talk about this live worm that was recently removed from an Australia woman's brain. Now, when I first read this, I wasn't really too surprised because A, it's Australia, and and B, it's Australia. They're known for their people fighting their fucking national animal, that being the kangaroo, and they got these fucking giant looking spiders that don't even look real. But this is actually the first instance of larvae invasion and development in the human brain. Australia just can't be real. Like, R.I.P. Steve Irwin. Like, like R.I.P. Steve Irwin. I still miss him. Can't watch any nature documentary or fucking Animal Planet without thinking about him. But my man's had fucking Australia on lock. I'm not even sure if he's Australian. I'm just throwing bullshit at the wind. But he would have taped that fucking little worm and whatever, and he would have gotten down to it. This man was out here wrestling crocodiles. Like he was for real laying down the law. This man would have found the megalodon if he could. I really believe that. But fuck stingrays and fuck Mother Nature sometimes, man. Gone too soon. R.I.P. Steve Irwin. Um, and what's cool? His son is continuing like his legacy. He does his own thing with like nature, and I don't know if he has a show, but he definitely helps or does something involving animals, which I find really cool. But something that I don't find really cool, this news that broke about Nike coming out with new dunks. Apparently, Nike is going to be coming out with a Barney edition of their dunks. Now, Nike is very repetitive when it comes to their shoe, and I don't fuck with this Barney motherfucker. They will sell for $110. And like I said, I've always been skeptical of Barney as a children's TV show. Who the fuck just dresses up as a fucking extinct animal? This is the way that I feel about the Chuck E. Cheese rat. I swear I was probably like either 6 or 7 my first time going to a Chuck E. Cheese. And at this time, of course, I still believe in Santa. I still believe in the fucking Tooth Fairy and all that shit. So I gotta believe in my boy Chucky. I gotta believe in my. As I called him Chuck because we were tight like that. And I thought that he was a real rat. Like I just thought that in this fucking crazy world, in my little 8-year-old mind, there was a giant rat among us, and I kept up that illusion, and nobody told me otherwise. And so as I'm eating my fucking Chuck E. Cheese pizza, I guess this guy must have been on his break or whatever, because he was done with the kids, man. We were just on him. Shouts out to the fucking ball pit. We're just throwing fucking little balls at him. That he just takes off the fucking suit, and this I don't want to shame him, but like this really raggedy, almost bald person just gives the loudest sighs like I don't get paid enough for this. And we see this guy just walk out, just take the whole damn fucking get up out. And when I tell you, it blew my little fucking 8-year-old brain that I literally had. This is the first instance where I ever had a mental breakdown, actually. Because all my life I believed that Chucky the rat, was the fucking actual thing. Like Mr. Cheese was a real person. And I felt betrayed. I felt like my whole life was a scam. I felt like I was lied to, and I literally I did not have a good birthday afterwards because of it. And I always hated Barney. I hated Thomas the train. Because it creeped me out as a kid too. The way that they had like the eyes and the mouth moving, and it was so weird. It gave me the creeps. And I was that kid, man. I was that kid who every time fucking what was his name? Bob the Builder. Yeah, every time Bob the Builder was like, "Are you guys ready? Can we fix it?" I'm like, "Fuck no, we can't." Turn your ass around, man. Fake ass Home Depot motherfucker. Yeah, just some fucking shows that I just could not get into when I was a kid. But yeah, uh, who dresses up as Barney? You couldn't pay me. And speaking about getting paid, we got to talk about this new lawsuit that actually ended up being tossed out after a judge tossed out a lawsuit against Future. They actually ended up quoting Biggie, Wu Tang, Kanye, F. Scott Fitzgerald, and Neil Young. So the story is that a copyright lawsuit claimed that Future ripped off one of the songs titled When I Think About It by this Virginia rapper. Apparently, the judge was having none of it, and they said that both these songs actually just address the same thing. They talk about guns, money, and jewelry, which are quote unquote basic lyrics. That's what the judge says. And that got me thinking, man. This judge must have had a field day writing his own little rap song or whatever. Well, not writing as a rap song, but reciting lyrics. Which reminded me of that time that Eminem got served a lawsuit by his old bully from high school. I don't remember. But his name was D'Angelo Bailey for those who are unfamiliar. And when Eminem came out with one of his songs on the Slim Shady LP, I think it was Brain Damage. Yeah, it was Brain Damage, where he talked about D'Angelo Bailey coming in and beating his ass alongside the principal or whatever. And eventually got to D'Angelo, who then served him a lawsuit. And the judge in that case ended up throwing the whole case away and actually ended up wrapping the sentencing to Bailey. Like that's some level 100 boss alpha move. Like imagine you're about to make a fucking bag. Like you're about to get the bag because you know Eminem was big at the time, so he definitely had money. You're like, oh fuck, I can't wait to finally cash in. And your own fucking judge is against you and starts fucking roasting you in the courthouse. Nah, man, you gotta pack it up. You gotta fucking pack shit up. Uh, but shouts out to Future for not having to pay a thing, I guess. And speaking of packing it up, gotta talk about the one chip challenge, who actually is now being pulled off stores. Now, this is actually following a news that reported a teenager who passed away. The company who's responsible for the viral one chip challenge are pulling it off the shelves because a 14-year-old ended up passing away. We see the clips online. It becomes a really big trend. Who can withstand it, who's going to beat the challenge, if you will. The company issued a statement on their website where it says that the challenge is quote unquote intended for adults only, with clear and prominent labeling highlighting the chip is not for children or anyone sensitive to spicy food. Of course, it's something that they can't control. It is a very sad situation. It is a very unfortunate event that occurred with the kid ultimately passing away. Uh, there's been so many instances where people, you know, I don't want to sound mean saying it, but they do participate in these trends that just don't. Of course, it can lead to bad results. We know people who done the we've known people who do like the cinnamon challenge, or they do the whole fucking NyQuil challenge. Like we talked about it last episode. We talked about these trends that can really damage you and leave you in a worse state than you probably want to be in. But I think this is the correct move that they're making on this part. Of course, the company cannot take such accountability because A, you know what you're getting yourself into, and B, it like they said, it's not intended for the use of children. Hopefully everybody stays safe in the future. Hopefully everybody, knows their limits and what to do and not to do. Is the only thing that can keep you safe. You know, that's a wrap for this one. If there's anything to learn though, if you ever see somebody get topped off, mind your business. Keep it moving, keep it fucking going. Don't just stare and watch. Don't fucking try to make conversation while it's happening. All right, because that's fucking gross. All right, don't be that guy. All right. Now, if you win the lottery as well, don't tell anybody. Okay, because you don't want your fucking cousin's ex boyfriend slash little sister coming after you because that just don't. I'm not sharing my money. Fuck you, mom. Like I'm not doing this shit. Also, I shout out Wendy's. They're debuting like their pumpkin spice flavored frosty or whatever. I know all the white people are getting excited about that. More blessings to y'all. Have a good one. I'll catch y'all on the next episode.